Hey folks, it's Steve Wilmes and Matt Kita, and we're here with another episode of the Risk Control Show, live from Torrance, California. And today we're talking about the big SVB Bank and its little collapse and all the risk management issues that we need to talk about, right, Matt?
Yep, exactly. I think that a lot of people they're looking around and wondering if they need to pull their money out of their banks right now. There's a lot of concern about that. What do you think, Steve?
Uh, I'm not a financial advisor. I just know that
Neither am
the
I.
FDIC, there's a lot of questions around that. I really don't want, I don't care to get into all that today. Um, I think you need to be smart and, not take unwieldy risks. I think some of those are for big giant players. Just understand that it's $250,000 that the FDIC will cover, and that is in all accounts at one bank. It's not per account, as
Right,
as has been
right.
described. So it's one of the risk management techniques: separation, segregation. Those are the things that we want to make sure we're doing, so not all of our eggs are in one basket that drops and breaks all of our eggs. Sometimes it can be difficult to manage. But really, I think, Matt, the bigger issue is two things in risk management: reputational risk, and then on
Mhm.
top of that is where the focus of risk management is, and that risk management wasn't even a focus.
Yeah, absolutely. At SVB, Silicon Valley Bank, for those who haven't somehow seen the news, um, they they suffered a collapse recently and came under control of the FDIC because basically they needed to come in and save them from a financial crisis. And it turns out that the bank, their chief risk officer, had stepped away from the position way back in April 2022. So that's almost a year ago, Steve.
Yeah, I know. I'm,
That
I'm fair. April has been a wild month for me.
yeah, right?
That's
Yeah.
when I left and came back to Torrance. You know,
That's right. That's right. Yeah. It's been almost a year
you may
now.
remember because you helped me
I
move.
yes, I remember it quite clearly. I remember quite clearly. Yeah, so this risk officer, their chief risk officer stepped away from that position in April, and the company chose not to fill that position until January of this year. So 2 months ago, as of now, a little over a month before the collapse happened, because I think that this is earlier this month, late end of February, that sort of started to roll into position. And the whole time they had other positions that I think they're important too, but they weren't going to help you in this situation. One that primarily has come up is the chief DEI officer.
Yeah, well, I
So
mean, I love the news on this right away. Just to
mhm,
piggyback on what you're saying there, Matt, the news right away was, oh my gosh, no risk management. Oh, risk management's focused on DEI. No risk management. And then it comes out, golly, all the people on the board have no banking or financial experience. Oh my
right,
goodness, what's this person? And it just goes to show that it shows many things. Risk management. What I thought was so fascinating about this is risk management is highly important. Safety is highly important. We try to
yeah,
express this to all our clients, and we see it all the time where you in emergency management you talk about span of control, right? And
mhm,
30 or 16 people is your maximum span of control. Um, what does that look like for a safety officer? I mean, I see when we go out to clients and just the project that they may have us work on, you know, uh,
mhm,
it can take weeks sometimes on one little project. And then you go, okay, you have, you know, 500 of these that you need to do. right? I
Right.
mean, it's
Yeah.
just there's a ton of it, so you need more people. And I've said it 1,000 times probably now since I've been to Japan and back, and that is that in America we're so focused on doing more with less, and we can't keep that going. You have to hire more people. You have to get good quality people. You have to train them. It takes time to train people, and there's all kinds of stuff around the human resource piece here that is really challenging. I think I was screaming and yelling about this the other day. I know I was talking to Jocelyn about this the other day,
Right.
and I was just so furious because here I just went to see my new doctor. Okay, when I grew up,
Okay.
Matt, um, I had a doctor, Dr. Hugh. He's still out there in Missouri, still practicing.
Right.
He was a young guy when I started seeing him. He had great bedside manner, really connected well. He still treats my parents to this day. Okay, we're talking
It's
40,
amazing.
40 years, you know. No, okay,
Right.
maybe 35 years of practicing medicine. Same location, same staff, just going about it, right? And
Right.
here, I've come to California. I've been in California 20 years. I can't even tell you how many doctors, like primary care physicians, I've
Right.
had. Some
Yeah.
I've gotten rid of because they're so poor and so uneducated. And others, I feel I go in and I meet them and I feel so great. And then 2 weeks later, they're gone. And they promise me, oh, I'm not going back to India. Oh no, I'm not going to have a baby and go away, And it's like,
Right.
boom, gone, boom, gone, boom, gone. So I just saw my new doctor. This is my third doctor in 3 years. And it's like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Like, this is unreal. And this is what goes on in our society now. People
Mhm.
take a job and then they're out. And
Right.
look, you can't learn like it's the same in politics. It's the same in when you're in a leadership position. It takes 4 to 6 months to hit the ground and actually understand the business that you're in. And then if you're leaving in a year or two, like and constantly replacing people like that, you never get any stability in the position,
Right.
right?
Right.
And so, I mean, look at some of our clients, especially in the education sector. You know, every time you go out there, there's someone new in the position, and you're just like, you're constantly starting over. Okay, well, this is what we did. This is what we got to do. These are the projects. Da 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 da. You
Yeah.
finally feel like, oh, I'm getting them up and running, and then they take a new
Yeah.
position,
Yeah.
and it's like, where?
Exactly.
At what point are you going to stick with something? You know?
Yep.
And so here in this case, it just tickled me pink, man, when all the news was like risk management. Oh my God, wrong focus. Nobody on the board has experience. Risk management is the primary reason this thing failed. Well, it's not really, but
Right.
it's a major part of it. And I actually practice Krav with a bank risk manager, and it's fascinating to have these conversations. But uh, you're looking at it and you're going, yeah, you should see these risk profiles coming and how you handle that. But again, if you hire in someone that doesn't know what to do, if you have a board that doesn't know what to do, has no
Right.
experience in these areas, and then you have a risk manager that really doesn't have a lot of experience. And I'm not trying to blast this person because I really don't know. I'm just what I've heard and read. But you have reputational risk, which goes down the toilet, and
Mhm.
that has seen like SVB Bank and these people, their reputation is ruined. And then you have this whole concept of the wrong focus. And the wrong
Yeah.
focus in this situation is focusing in on these ancillary programs, which, yes, they're important.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But
Yeah.
as I tell you and Joan 700 times a day, focus on the money making aspects of the business, and all the other little administrative details and BS that our clients don't care about, they don't care about, right?
Right.
And how many times do you and I go out and see these things where it's like, okay, we're here doing confined space training. We're going to drop somebody in a 30-foot hole with a 30-inch pipe with, 20,000 gallons a minute of water potentially coming in and engulfing you. Rescue is the most important thing. I don't care
Yes.
two flips about what color the person is, what gender the person is. What I care about is, does the harness support their weight,
Yeah.
and do they know how to perform the rescue, right? And in this
Yep.
case, do you know how to analyze financial risk?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And you mentioned it, how long it takes for somebody to kind of get up and running, right? So they brought in that risk manager, SVB, in January. And like I said, everything happened in February. Where do you think this person
It actually
was
happened
at?
before that.
Yeah,
Oh,
started happening.
100%. You know, you don't just turn the switch. I mean, obviously everyone made a run on the
Yeah,
bank, but that run on the bank started to heat up, and people are like, "Oh, now's the time." Like we got to
right.
do this. They should have been analyzing that risk months before that.
Oh
They
yeah.
knew what the
Oh yeah.
Fed was doing. And again, like that's something I say all the time too. This inflation control by raising the interest rates, the consumer's still paying the same price. They're just
Yep.
paying it in interest to the banks. The banks are the ones getting wealthy off this,
Yep.
or should
Yep.
be.
Yeah, exactly. Not Silicon Valley,
Yeah, I
but
mean,
other banks.
consumers aren't getting more products. They're not getting more services. They're just
Yeah.
paying more so that hopefully everybody will stop, you know, buying so much, and the prices will be driven down. But it's sometimes you have to let nature take its course. And in this particular instance, it's one of those deals where if the lesson to be learned from SVB is, please make sure that you are paying attention to risk management, safety, and that you're focused on the right things.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a place for DEI, but it's not it's not the primary focus. I think we've lost so much there that you know, yeah, you need to have diversity, equity, inclusion in your overall mix of people, and people need to be able to be heard and voiced, but you have to have a skill set,
Yep.
and you have to be able to do the job. I mean, this is like the American with Disabilities Act, with or without the accommodation, with or without your race or your gender or whatever. If you can't do the job, it doesn't matter. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
it's
I mean, the what this I'm equating this in my mind to. Okay, we're going to stop paying our insurance on this, liability insurance to put artwork on the walls in
right,
the office. Yeah,
right,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, that's is like, look, artwork on the walls is nice, and I'm sure that people feel better about working in a place where that happens.
right,
But then if an accident happens and you don't have the liability insurance to kick in and cover you, then your company goes under
right.
because can't afford that liability. So it's like we under artwork is important. DEI is important. But if your company doesn't exist anymore because you
None of it
didn't,
matters.
none of it matters. So
It's like
that,
when we just went out, we did those vehicle inspections, and the guy pulls up in his truck, and I said to Matt, "Look at these tires. I mean, they are bald. They are balder than my forehead." And it's
right.
raining cats and dogs, Southern California. I mean, this is what, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
It's raining cats and dogs, you know, floods everywhere. They just had a mudslide where one of the trucks slid off the side of the hill and down into the school. It's
Oh,
like, uh huh. And so he pulls up, we go through the thing. Okay, we find a cracked tail light, this and that. I said, look at these tires. I said, you can't drive this today. The only place you're driving this is right over to the shop to get tires replaced. I
Yeah.
said, how long have you been driving like this? 6, 8 months. And what? I said, have you said anything? You've been doing your pre-trip inspections? Yes. I've said it many times. I requested it many times. Oh, well, this truck is part of a different program, and, you know,
Hmm.
okay, well, I don't care. It,
Right.
your program, if you can't afford the maintenance, you don't get the truck.
Yep.
Period. End of story. Like, you're
Yep.
going to kill this guy and you're going to kill somebody else because when you go to make a stop at the stoplight, because the decision dilemma is very short and it goes from green to yellow to red, just like that, and you slam on the brakes and slide through the intersection, what are you going to tell everybody? Oh, I'm sorry, we didn't have the money to put tires on the truck. Well, then you don't
Right.
have the money for the program. It's just that simple.
Yep.
And so don't use the truck.
Yep.
You know.
Exactly.
But boy, they got
Exactly.
those tires on that truck that day, didn't they?
They did. Yeah. Once I guess sometimes it just needs a safety expert to come along and point out that, hey, you can't continue to use this. And they got on it. So that was
which
a
is
good thing.
another aspect of this SVB Bank, Matt, which is
Hmm.
that you have the oversight. They keep talking about the oversight, and this person was on the board, was also working at the Fed, and they were supposed to be looking over this bank in San Francisco, and they didn't, and they did, and they did this and that, and it just goes to show you once again that unless you have a strong risk manager, a strong safety person that is going to put their foot down and actually stop the work. So this would be a competent person. They can
Yes.
recognize the hazards, they can stop the work. And so you and I had this conversation a little while back after the Super Bowl, and you're like, I can't believe they called that penalty. Right?
Yeah.
Remember this?
I
Remember
do.
this? So you can't believe they called the penalty. Well, that's what we do every day. And unless you're
Yeah.
going to be the ump and the referee and call foul and make them fix it, you can't rely on oversight because half the time, if not 90% of the time, the oversight folks, they're so concerned about being sued, they're so concerned about not being able to have this client or that client or whatever that
Yeah.
they go, okay, well, you should fix that. You should be careful about this, you know?
Yep.
And that if we would have been a weaker safety person, a weaker risk manager, a weaker consultant, and went out there and said, it's okay, do it when you can
Hmm.
get to it, they would have been driving that truck for another 6 months
Oh
if the
yeah.
tires even lasted that long.
Yeah. Which
I mean, they
I
were,
I would have been shocked if those
yeah,
lasted
yeah.
6 weeks, much less six
They
months, the
were
way they were
bald as a
looking.
baby's bottom.
Yeah.
I mean, they were bald, bald, bald.
Yeah. Yeah. That was something because as the two worst ones were on the driver's side, and I'd only looked at the passenger side. It's like, these look pretty bad. Is all, but look at the other. You told me, but look at the other side. I went over to the other side. And I'm like, oh, like it was like I saw a horror. It was like, oh my god, like
Yeah,
that is that
yeah,
bad.
yeah.
And yeah, those things were not going to last, and that's the thing. You need to take this seriously. You
Right.
need to have that focus, because the worst thing, like, I mean, we're kind of joking around about all these things break down, but the reality, Steve, is that you talked about the sliding into an intersection that could cause an accident and people could get hurt. Your workers could get hurt. And that's above and beyond like the whole financial liability side of it and how that works out. I mean, there's a real cost here to losing focus on this, to not making this a priority in your organization.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. So, with that, I mean, there's not a whole lot to say here except you got reputation risk, You got legal liability, which you can never avoid your legal liability. Your reputation's always on the line. And if you're going to make, I call it front door policies. All of these HR policies, they all start at your front door. If you
Mhm.
don't let these people through your front door, you won't end up in these situations, right? Now you got to let
Right.
the right people through the front door. So your
Right.
hiring practices have to be top notch. You hire fast, you fire fast. Those things are important, right? You got to get rid of the bad people fast, and unfortunately,
Right.
there's a hell of a lot of them out there. I see it all the time, every day, you know. And what's so fascinating to me is just I saw something on one of these articles. I think it was some lady that did a TikTok, and she was talking about how she works from home, and she gets her steps in, and she does yoga, and she does dishes, and she makes herself a little lunch. And it's like, yeah, do you work? That's not work from home. That's play at home. It's like, and these people are making 140, $170,000 a year, and they're goofing off all day long.
Yep.
You know, it's like,
Yep.
get to work. There's work to be done. Um, so anyway, we have a course on defensive driving, and it's a really good course, and we put it online too. We do a lot of drunk goggles. If you do it in person, which is a lot of fun, we
It
throw
is.
things at you to see what your reaction time is. We put you in a vehicle. We have you drive around. If you just watch Special Operations, those guys stole some of our techniques actually. Yeah, the celebrity edition, when they were having
Yeah.
them drive through the war zone, and they're like, call out everything you see, tell me every decision. And like I say, that's something that we always do, because I can't tell what you're thinking. You have to tell me what you're thinking. And
Yep.
so um, I was glad to see that technique is in those high level operations as well. But yeah, we do all that, and we got a great defensive driving course. You can find it on Udemy. You can find it on Dollar Training Club. Check out our website. We got a lot of great calculators and free stuff there, blogs and all these posts and podcasts and all that good stuff there. And if you want, you can always see Matt and I in person. We're happy to do that. And you can follow us on all these social media networks: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube, of course. And we got screwed on this YouTube name, Wilmes LLC Risk Control Service, without the E2583. I don't know. I put in Wilmes LLC and they gave me that. So, but you can
Uh,
find us there. And don't forget, we have 20. Nope, that's the drawing. Oh, I didn't put the other scene in there. 20% off for new clients. Come on down and make yourself a winner. We'll see you on the next episode of the Risk Control Show. And remember, risk management and safety is important. Get yourself a quality person. You're going to have to pay big money. I mean, if you really want an expert, you got to pay big money, because it's about complexity. There's so much to know now, and you need someone that's really like our buddy Dante. Dante is a guy that works 12 hours a day every day of the week, just like you and I,
mhm.
and he's a really great safety guy.
Yep.
But he cares, and so he's not sitting around doing laundry at 1 p.m. on a Wednesday while he types an email. I can tell you that.